Out there, in the frozen Bering Sea, there is no calm horizon, no gentle waves, no soothing breeze, only storm clouds rolling thick across the sky, waves rising like icy mountains, and winds howling so fiercely they drown out every human voice. This is not a place of comfort. This is one of the harshest, deadliest environments on Earth. And yet, year after year, fleets of massive steel ships still leave Dutch Harbor, Alaska, sailing straight into the chaos, facing ice, storms, and endless darkness. They do not go seeking adventure. They go to hunt for treasure, a treasure clad in armor, armed with giant claws, and revered by humankind for centuries. The king crab. The king crab, often dubbed the red treasure of the sea, is far from an ordinary catch. It's one of the world's most prized and luxurious seafoods, gracing elite dining tables from Tokyo to New York, Seoul to Moscow, with its sweet, firm meat and cultural significance. In a single season, over 50,000 are harvested from these frigid waters, generating more than $12 million in value. But behind that staggering number lies a story of danger, endurance, technology, culture, and survival. This is the journey of the king crab from the deadly waters of the Bering Sea to the dazzling lights of the world's most luxurious banquet tables. It all begins at Dutch Harbor, the legendary gateway to the crab grounds. Dutch Harbor rests quietly between snow-covered mountains, but every vessel leaving here carries scars from countless battles with the sea. These ships are built like fortresses of steel, reinforced to withstand the ocean's fury, and the crews who work them are among the toughest people alive. For them, crab season is not just a job. It is a test of will, courage, and endurance. Many have lost fathers, brothers, or friends to these same waters. They know the risks, yet they return, because one successful trip can secure an entire year's livelihood on deck. Preparations unfold with clockwork precision. Giant steel cages called pots are stacked high. Each one weighs more than 600 pounds when empty. They are industrial weapons in the battle to capture the king of crustaceans. Into each trap goes a bag of oily mackerel, the irresistible bait that no crab can ignore. The work is grueling, repetitive, and extremely dangerous. A single pot swinging wildly can crush bones in an instant. One slip could mean a life dragged overboard into the black water, but the crew moves in perfect rhythm, the result of years of experience and the necessity of survival. When the ship leaves the harbor, they enter another world. The Bering Sea shows no mercy. Temperatures plummet to minus 20 degrees Celsius, while razor-sharp winds whip across the deck, freezing every railing, every cable, every hook, turning the entire vessel into a massive drifting block of ice. Waves tower up to 6 meters, crashing down like sledgehammers with terrifying force. The sky stretches endlessly in shades of grey, and the sea is as black as ink. In this remote corner of the world, there are no safe harbors, no timely rescues, only humans facing the raw, unforgiving power of nature head-on. If a fisherman falls into the water, survival time is measured in minutes. This is why they call it the deadliest catch. The pots sink slowly into the abyss, vanishing into the dark depths. And then the waiting begins. For 24 hours, the traps rest silently on the seafloor, their bait spreading through the currents, drawing in the giant crabs. On deck, the crew fights exhaustion, chipping away ice, securing lines, struggling against the bitter cold. The clock ticks slowly, but the anticipation builds. When it's finally time to haul the first pot, the air on deck is electric with tension. The winch groans, the chains strain, all eyes fixed on the waves. Will it be empty or overflowing with treasure? Then, with a crash, the pot breaks the surface, dripping seawater, slamming onto the deck with a deafening clang. Inside, dozens of massive red crabs thrash wildly, their claws clattering against steel. Scheerzerupt, it is victory, a moment of hope for a bountiful season. But not every pot delivers joy. Some rise with only a handful of crabs. Each haul is a gamble, and millions of dollars are at stake. The fishermen work quickly, tossing the crabs into chilled seawater tanks that mimic the exact conditions of the deep. Too warm, and the crabs will die. Too cold, and they go dormant, losing their market value. On deck, the work never stops. Day and night blur under the harsh glow of floodlights. This is one of the deadliest jobs in America. Crab fishing carries a fatality rate 28 times higher than the average profession. Dangers are everywhere. Pots swing like wrecking balls, able to crush anyone who stands in the wrong place. Rogue waves crash violently onto the deck, sweeping crew members into the freezing sea in a matter of seconds. Thick layers of ice cover ladders and railings, transforming everyday equipment into lethal hazards. Fatigue sets in, dulling reflexes, turning routine tasks into deadly missteps. Entire vessels have disappeared without a trace in these unforgiving storms. And yet, year after year, the fishermen come back because a single successful voyage can earn them millions, making the risk worth everything. When the ships finally return to port, a new race begins, the race against time. Specialized refrigerated trucks are waiting, filled with thousands of gallons of oxygenated seawater. The crabs are carefully transferred, still alive, still moving. From this moment on, they have only 48 hours to reach markets or factories. Every delay means millions could be lost. From Alaska, sealed, refrigerated containers cross the Pacific, bound for Japan, South Korea, the United States, and Europe. Inside these steel giants, the cargo must remain perfect. Each mile traveled is part of a non-stop countdown. If conditions fail, the entire shipment becomes worthless. Precision is survival. The sorting begins. Smaller, weaker crabs are removed. Only those weighing between 6 and 10 pounds meet the standard. In peak season, up to 50,000 crabs can move through the line in a single day, worth more than $12 million. Each one must be handled with care, because perfection is what the market demands. Next comes cleaning. High-pressure water jets blast every crab, stripping away mud, sand, and algae clinging to their shells. The sound is overwhelming, hissing water, clattering claws, pounding machinery. It is an industrial symphony echoing across the factory floor. Every movement is designed for efficiency. Then come the boiling tanks. Vast vats of water, each kept at a precise 100 degrees Celsius. The crabs are plunged in, and within minutes, their shells shift from dull brown to brilliant red, the iconic color of luxury. But the process cannot stop here. To preserve flavor and texture, they are immediately transferred into ice-cold water tanks, halting the cooking process instantly. From there, Automated machines slice and separate the legs, laying them neatly along endless conveyor belts. Workers stand watch, inspecting each batch carefully, removing anything that falls short of perfection. The rhythm is constant, mechanical, précis. The finest meat is sealed in vacuum-packed, multi-layered packages designed to keep freshness intact during the long journey ahead. Under the factory lights, the white flesh gleams like treasure. Quality control teams pull random samples, checking pH levels, running microbiology tests, weighing each package. Only those that pass the strictest international standards are allowed to continue. From here, the king crab begins a new life. In Tokyo, Seoul, or New York, they arrive at luxury supermarkets, high-end restaurants, and banquet halls where wealth and celebration converge. In Japan, they become part of fine sushi. In Korea, they are served at milestones like weddings and festivals. In the United States, they crown Christmas and New Year's feasts. A single king crab can sell for $300 to $500. A single dinner can cost thousands. To protect the king crab from overfishing, Alaska enforced strict quotas, drastically limiting the number of crabs that could be harvested and shortening the fishing season to just a few intense weeks. The era of unrestricted hauls had ended. Every vessel was assigned a fixed quota, and each expedition was closely regulated and monitored. Sustainability was no longer an option or a moral ideal. It became a legal mandate, essential to ensure the survival of both the species and the industry. Today, every crab pulled aboard is recorded, logged, and counted under the watchful eyes of regulators and scientists. Inspectors make sure each catch fits within the rules. If the balance is broken, the entire fishery could collapse again. It is a fragile system, but one designed to protect the future of both the crab and the men who risk everything to catch them. Meanwhile, scientists and entrepreneurs are searching for another solution: farming king crab in controlled environments. But this is no easy task. King crabs are bottom dwellers, requiring vast spaces, rocky seabeds, and frigid waters. Replicating the deep sea is a challenge that pushes the limits of modern technology. Experimental farms create tanks filled with sand, crushed rock, and seawater, kept at a constant 2 to 4 degrees Celsius year-round. The process begins with tiny larvae. Glowing under pale blue light, they molt repeatedly, fragile and delicate, on their way to becoming juvenile crabs. At this stage, even the smallest shift in temperature or salinity can wipe out an entire tank. Those that survive are transferred into larger tanks with circulating currents that mimic the ebb and flow of tides. Here, they begin to hunt, feeding on clams, crushed shrimp, and protein-rich pellets. The growth is painfully slow. Years will pass before they reach commercial size. Patience is not optional. It is essential. For now, farming remains experimental, but it may one day hold the key to protecting the species. If successful, it could relieve pressure on wild stocks and ensure that future generations will still know the taste of king crab. Without innovation, luxury today could mean scarcity tomorrow. From the frozen depths of the Bering Sea to the controlled tanks of experimental farms, the journey of the king crab is both brutal and extraordinary. It is a story of nature's limits, human ambition, and the delicate balance between exploitation and preservation. 50,000 crabs, $12 million, numbers that speak not only of wealth, but of survival At the end of the line, when containers are sealed and shipments leave port, the real value of the king crab lies not just in its sweet white flesh, it lies in the story. It carries a story of storms endured, lives risked, machines built, traditions upheld, and ecosystems protected. Every bite is a reminder of the price paid at sea. From the harshest waters on Earth to the most dazzling banquet tables, the king crab embodies both danger and luxury. It is a symbol of what humans can endure, what they can achieve, and what they must protect, because if we wish to taste it tomorrow, we must preserve it today. In Tokyo, Seoul, or New York, the king crab begins its final chapter. Here, it is no longer a creature of the sea, but a symbol of status, luxury, and celebration. In Japan, it graces sushi counters and banquet tables. In South Korea, it is reserved for weddings, festivals, and milestones. In the United States, it becomes the centerpiece of Christmas and New Year's feasts. The price is staggering. A single king crab can sell for $300 to $500. A feast featuring multiple crabs can cost thousands. For the wealthy, the flavor is irresistible, but so too is the symbolism. To eat king crab is to taste power, prosperity, and history itself. This is not just food, it is a cultural statement. Centuries ago, in the 18th century, king crab was considered so rare and precious that it was reserved for Russian tsars, served alongside caviar as a delicacy fit only for royalty. That image has never truly faded. Even today, a plate of king crab carries with it echoes of that same prestige. From the Tsar's banquets to modern Michelin star restaurants, it has always been the food of the elite. But every luxury comes at a price. Behind the glow of elegant restaurant lights is a harsh world of violent storms, bone-deep exhaustion, and life-threatening risk. Behind each tender bite of sweet white king crab meat are the untold stories of fishermen who faced the planet's most dangerous seas. And behind every neatly wrapped package on a supermarket shelf lies an industry constantly balancing on the edge between profit and collapse, between abundance and extinction. The story of king crab is not just about taste, it is about trade-offs. It is about the razor-thin line between supply and collapse, between human desire and nature's limits, between wealth today and scarcity tomorrow. Every crab that leaves the Bering Sea is a reminder of this fragile balance. From Dutch Harbor to Tokyo, from the freezing tanks of the factory to the glowing banquet tables of the wealthy, the journey of the king crab is both triumphant and perilous. It is a story of endurance, technology, culture, and above all, survival. 50,000 crabs, $12 million, numbers that represent far more than profit. They represent storms weathered and lives risked. They represent the ambition of human industry and the responsibility of conservation. They remind us that nature's treasures are never free, that every luxury carries a price. The true value of the king crab lies not just in its flavor, but in the effort to preserve it for the future. This is the story of the king crab, from the deadliest seas to the most luxurious tables, from storms and steel to sushi and celebration. It is a story of survival and sacrifice, of wealth and responsibility, of exploitation and preservation. And it is a reminder, if we wish to enjoy this treasure tomorrow, we must protect it today. For the king crab is more than a meal. It is a testament to the enduring relationship between humankind and the sea